Hey everyone, I'm the Anime Broker, and today I spend 24-hour created 4 what-if scenario about Demon Slayer. And these 4 scenario can change the entire story and create a way, better interesting outcome that you wouldn't believe it. To not wasted any of your time, let's get into it. What if scenario number 1. What if Rengoku and Shinobu went to the Swordsmith Village at the same time as Tanjiro? To make this outcome possible, Rengoku would have to survive the incident on the Mugen train with Shinobu's help. Have you ever heard that choice can create an infinite number of possible outcomes? As you can see in this scene at the end of the season, Shinobu was so worried about Rengoku that she felt something bad would happen. That's why she came to see him and told him to be careful. After all, Rengoku was one of the close friends of her deceased sister, Kanai Kocho. So in this scenario, Shinobu had a change of heart and abandoned her mansion just to follow Rengoku. Everything would change. If this happened in this storyline, Rengoku, Zenitsu, and Nezuko would still be the ones who protected the passengers on the train, and Shinobu, Tanjiro, and Inosuke would be the ones who fought with the Dream Demon, Enmu. This fight might be faster than the original story because Enmu's flesh would be his weakness against Shinobu's poisoned sword. She could cut any part of Enmu's flesh on the train and make his main body poisoned. If Enmu died by poison, Tanjiro would never have to use the sun-breathing move, and he would also not get injured by the train conductor. Moreover, they would be able to defeat the Lower Moon 1, Enmu, without even collapsing the train. So Akaza would have to follow and collapse the train by himself. And the best place that Akaza would collapse the train would be none other than the train tunnel that we saw when the train collapsed in the original story. If Akaza chose to fight them in the train tunnel, he would have the advantage because there would be no sunlight that could get through that tunnel. Akaza would have the upper hand, but Shinobu would consume wisteria flowers and try to bait Akaza to eat her. However, as we know, he would never kill women ever, so he would avoid fighting Shinobu at all costs and only fight Rengoku. Because of that weakness of his, Akaza would be defeated by Rengoku and Shinobu in the end. Based on their skill and strength, Akaza should have been winning over Rengoku and Shinobu, but because he did not kill women, that was the biggest mistake in this fight that made the Demon Slayers take advantage over him by using Shinobu as a shield to protect Rengoku. Muzan would be fuming, because this time not only just a random upper moon got killed, but it was the upper 3, Akaza. After that incident, Shinobu and Rengoku would stay at the Butterfly Mansion with Tanjiro and his friends, and then they would go to the Swordsmith Village together because this time Shinobu and Rengoku's swords were also broken. Rengoku would invite Tanjiro to go to his house first and learn about the history of the sun breathing before they went to the Swordsmith Village. This time, Shinobu would be the one who took care of Nezuko instead of Mitsuri. This time, Muzan would still send the upper 4 and 5 to the Swordsmith Village, and he would send them earlier than the original story because he was mad and wanted to avenge Akaza. But he did not expect any Hashira to be there at all, and that was the biggest mistake again. So, Rengoku would face Hantengu with Tanjiro this time, because after the Mugen train incident, they became close and they slept in the same room. Hantengu would send Rengoku flying just like Muichiro Tokido, but as we know, Rengoku would come back to save Tanjiro fast because Rengoku had a super speed move that he could run as fast as the thunder speed form from Zenitsu. So, in this story, Rengoku and Tanjiro with Nezuko would defeat the upper 4 demon, Hantengu faster than the original story because with Rengoku's strength and speed, they would be able to find the main body of Hantengu fast. And Genya was not here to fight this time because Tanjiro and Rengoku came to the Swordsmith Village a little bit earlier than the original story. As for the upper 5, he would probably fight with Shinobu this time. Based on Shinobu's strength and skill, she would have a hard time defeating the upper 5, Gyoko, alone by herself compared to Muichiro Tokito. Moreover, since she thought the Swordsmith Village was a safe and secret place, she would not prepare wisteria flowers to consume to make her body a living poison weapon like in the final arc. So she would be killed by Gyoko, the upper moon 5, since she was the weakest Hashira compared to everybody else. After Rengoku defeated Hantengu, he would go find Shinobu, but only to find her corpse lying in a pool of blood. Rengoku would be fuming and use his 9th form, Rengoku, to run around the Swordsmith Village as fast as the thunder-breathing style, just to find and kill Gyoko. He would be able to kill all the minions, but Gyoko would escape through his pot. Because he had killed one of the Hashira, which was Shinobu, he had no reason to stay and fight Rengoku, knowing he would lose. He would run back to the Infinity Castle and climb up the rank to become the new Upper Three, replacing Akaza. If this happened, the final battle between Muzan and the Hashira would be delayed because Nezuko was not burned by the sun and did not discover her ability to be immune to the sunlight, so Muzan had no reason to attack the Demon Slayer Corps and kidnap Nezuko. But if the final battle did happen, there would be no Shinobu to fight and kill Doma by poison anymore, but Doma would face Rengoku himself with the help of Inosuke and Kanao. Sadly, as we know, Rengoku did not even stand a chance against Akaza in the original story. He would be defeated by Doma. Doma was a strong upper moon. The only Hashira who could win one-on-one against him would only be the stone Hashira Gyomei and the wind Hashira Sanemi. What if number 2? What if Tengen went to the Swordsmith Village? To make this possible, Obanai, the serpent Hashira, would have to join the fight earlier than the original story. And this time, not only the Upper 6 demon would be fighting, but Muzan would also send Doma, the Upper 2, into the entertainment district immediately after he sensed that Gyutaro and Daki were defeated. Remember Nakimi, the one-eyed female demon that served Muzan? She could send anyone to any place that she put her blood demon art on, which was a teleportation. So since she could also teleport Daki and Gyutaro into the Infinity Castle before, she must have kept her blood somewhere in the entertainment district. If this happened, the only two who could still fight with Dome would be Obanai, Tanjiro, and Zenitsu, because Tengen and Inosuke were badly injured already. But don't forget, we also still had Nezuko, and Touch getting fresh from the box, to fight Doma too. Since Doma hated and liked to eat women, he would try to kill Tengen and Nezuko first, and our boys Tanjiro and Inosuke would play the protective role, keeping Obanai to attack one-on-one with Doma. Obanai would use his snakes and all to keep Doma from killing Tengen's wives, but Doma's Ice Blood demon art was so strong that Obanai could not keep up one-on-one with him at all. He would need help from Nezuko's flame to burn Doma's ice. Since the battle between Tengen and Gyutaro earlier was too long and destroyed the whole town, it was also nearly sunrise. Nezuko would try to sacrifice herself by capturing Doma until sunrise to burn him, because her flame was too weak to burn this sassy Baka demon Doma alive. Obanai's snake would also sacrifice itself to capture the demon. Since Obanai was greatly injured and lay down in a pool of blood, Tanjiro and Zenitsu could not help at all because both of their legs were broken from the fight with Gyutaro earlier. Luckily, after sunrise, Doma burned to ash and he could not find any place to hide because all the houses in the town were already destroyed by Gyutaro and there was no forest near the entertainment district at all. Nezuko would also burn, but soon she would discover that she was immune to sunlight. Just imagine if the story played out like this. Season 2 would be the best season ever because we would have 2 big battles, one with Gyutaro and Tengen and another one with Obanai and Doma. After the battle ended, they would still go to the Swordsmith Village to make new swords, and after they knew that Nezuko was immune to sunlight, there would be no better place to hide Nezuko than the Swordsmith Village. Master Kagaya would ask to have some of Nezuko's blood to give to Shinobu to experiment, and Tanjiro would also introduce Miss Tamayo to work with Shinobu. In that way, they would discover the cure for demons faster than the original story. Back at the Swordsmith Village, this time Tengen did not lose his hand. He was just injured because Obanai came to save him in time. But both of their swords were chipped, so Tengen and Obanai had to go to the Swordsmith Village with Tanjiro and Nezuko. But this time, Mitsuri and Muichiro were also there to make their new swords. Back to Muzan, after he lost Upper Moon 2 and 6, he would be so mad and send not 2, but 3 Upper Moons to the Swordsmith Village. Hyantengu, Gyoko, and the Upper 3 demon, Akaza. He still kept the Upper 1 just in case they all failed again. He still had 1 more bodyguard to protect him. So since Tanjiro and Tengen, with his 3 wives, had a close relationship with Tanjiro and Nezuko now, he would stay near Tanjiro, and he would be the one who faced Hyantengu with Tanjiro. Mitsuri and Obanai would fight with Gyoko, the Upper 4 demon, since they were both boyfriend and girlfriend and they would stay together, and they would save the villagers when Gyoko created all his fish minions to attack the village. Unluckily, Muichiro Tokito and Genya would face Doma because these two wandered around the village at night when everyone was sleeping. Tengen would die because he was no match for Hyantengu, but at least he bought Tanjiro some time until the help came. Soon enough, both Mitsuri and Obanai would defeat Gyoko because they were stronger together, at least on Rengoku's level. They would be the ones who came to save Tanjiro Muichiro and Nezuko because Hantengu was trying to eat Nezuko's flesh to become immune to sunlight too. With Obanai and Mitsuri's help, this time there was no way that they would lose to Hantengu. Only Tengen died in this fight. After killing Hantengu and mourning Tengen's death, Tanjiro and Nezuko were greatly injured, so it only led to Mitsuri and Obanai to save Muichiro Tokido and Genya, but they only found the corpse of Genya lying in a pool of blood, and Muichiro Tokido was injured and died after they sent him to the hospital. Doma would be so proud and go back to tell the Upper One demon, Kokushibo, that he killed one of his descendants. After the battle in the entertainment district, they would hide Nezuko in a safe place this time, and Muzan would find more demons to join the Upper Moon rank, which were Nakime and Kaigaku. The final battle would be the same, but without Muichiro Tokito, and Tengen would be absent in the Hashira training arc. His 3 wives would retire to live a normal life. What if number 3? What if Giyu Tomioka and Sanemi go to the Swordsmith Village? Giyu and Sanemi are 2 of the strongest Hashira, but they can't stand each other. They often argue and insult each other, and once they even tried to fight to the death near the Demon Slayer mansion. Luckily, the Stone Hashira intervened and stopped them before they killed each other. As a punishment, they were scolded by Kaya Ubuyashiki and ordered to go to the Swordsmith Village together, since both of their swords were chipped from their clash. This time, Tanjiro and Nezuko are not in the village because the fight happened at a different time. But what if Muzan decided to send the Upper Moon 4 and 5 to attack the village at the same time? If that happened, Giyu would face the Upper Moon 4, Hantengu, while Sanemi would fight the Upper Moon 5, Gyoko. After easily defeating Gyoko, Sanemi would rush to save the other people in the village, only to find Giyu on the verge of death after fighting Hantengu alone. He would jump in to save Giyu and help him defeat Hantengu. In the end, they would learn the value of friendship and teamwork. What if number 4? What if the Stone Hashira went to the Swordsmith Village? Make no mistake, the Stone Hashira would crush both Hantengu and Gyoko in a 2 versus 1 fight, no problem. But after the battle, he would also get injured and could not go to the final battle in the Infinity Castle. If this happened, no one could defeat the Upper One demon Kokushibo, let alone Muzan. So if this happened, Sanemi, Muichiro, and Giyu would die by Muzan's attack. So the other Hashira would retreat to wait until the Stone Hashira recovered and attacked them again. But Muzan would not wait for them to make a plan to attack him like an idiot anymore. He would send all the Upper Moons that he had left to attack them all in the Demon Slayer mansion. This time, they would have to call all the former Hashira back to trap and kill Muzan. But Muzan would still be able to bite a little bit of Nezuko's flesh and become immune to sunlight. Even though Muzan started to become immune to the sunlight, Nezuko's blood would weaken him enough that it would make Tanjiro and the other Hashira able to capture him and kill all his Upper Moon demons. The only problem was that now they had no way to kill Muzan anymore. Wisteria flowers could not poison him. Sunlight and Nichirin blades could also not melt him to ash anymore. The only way to defeat Muzan was to create a jail box underground in many layers of soil and lock him in there forever. The jail would be protected by many Hashira and Demon Slayers until they had the technology to create a space rocket to send Muzan into space far away from Earth, or send him directly into the sun. But it would be too risky to send him into the sun because he was already immune to the sunlight, so the best option would be to send him into the forever dark space. But it would take centuries from that era until humans or Japan had the spacecraft. Demon Slayers would have to defeat all demons already because there would be no Muzan to create more demons at all. So that's all for today's video. See you at the next one.